So a lot of times people will be like, you shouldn't have various things around your house, your room, your house, your property. I have a lot of grave dirt in this room and around the house. It's not grave dirt that I dug into the graves and just pulled out, pieces of bone and grave dirt or entered into a coffin. I'm just talking about just the surface level around a graveyard. Things that are dirt that you wouldn't even be able to tell was taken. That's the kind of grave dirt I collect for various purposes. There's a lot of superstition, though, that if you have grave dirt, if you have things from graveyards, if you have certain sigils, that a ghost is going to come, that you're just asking for it. That's a superstition. If you know what you're talking about, you know what you're dealing with, then that's not what's going to happen. So let's start with a very simple tactic. White candle, white 7-day candle. Something you can find at your average grocery store, maybe in the Hispanic food aisle or the candle aisle in your grocery store. One or the other. You might even want a saint on it. One of my favorite saints is St. Jude. Or Archangel Michael candle. I like both of those. They're actually useful if you use them the right ways. They're not going to make a ghost flee. But if you want a positive environment, you want something watching over you while you sleep, because when you're asleep, you're actually more vulnerable than at other times, because you don't have the active will, you don't have the conscious will that you do when you're awake. So if you want something to watch over you, you say a prayer. Doesn't matter what religion, doesn't matter which spirituality. Hell, you don't even have to use a spirituality. Just say, I am protected. This is my home, and nothing can get to me. And then you light it with a match. You place this in your room. You can place it in your house, of course, but where you're sleeping in your room, you place this in your room. For some reason, well, the reason is that flame actually holds an eye gazed upon you from other realms, but the vast majority of the time we're attuned enough, just naturally, to have this as a watcher. Now, a watcher is a being who just naturally has been watching over us. You don't have to contact or anything like that, but when you light a candle, it's very easy for that part of yourself that is the watcher, that connection that you have to the astral that is the watcher, just have this candle near you after you say that after that basic prayer, that basic sentence, you light it, place it in your room. The flame itself is protective. Fire is something that is transformative. It is why that a lot of people get cremated. It's a transformation. It's something that which is stagnant does not want to come near. That's why something as simple as a 7-day candle can help you in your room, in your house, keep away things, but also protect you while you sleep. Now, when it comes to sage, I would recommend getting a shell with holes in it. You can look it up on Amazon, type in burning shell with holes or something like that, sage shell, something to burn sage in, something like that. That is very useful when you're actually lighting the sage. So the sage I have here is white sage dipped in dragon's blood oil. Dragon's blood oil is very protective oil. Keep that in mind. And you might break off flakes of this sage and then just burn them with a match. I highly recommend a match, not necessarily butane, because matches are better for spiritual purposes. But you break off pieces, you burn them in the shell, you waft them with your fingers or a feather, and you can go to the corners of your room, you can go to the corners of your house, and say something like Hekos, Hekos, Esta Bebeloi, which in Greek means, away, away, all ye profane. Or you can say, away, away, all ye profane, or I bless this house, and just say, I bless this house, I bless this house, over and over again. You can, anything that you feel like would be a blessing for you and what you're doing. It doesn't have to be anything particular. But you just waft around your house, make sure to get the corners, make sure to get rooms. If it's just one room you're trying to do, get the corners, and just kind of stand in the center of the room for a little bit and waft it. And while saying whatever you want to say, it could be a prayer, it could be either something very simple, an assertion. And that is a really good way to cleanse, but also protect your space from ghosts. And also, well, I wouldn't say protect from ghosts, but ghosts do not want to go into that. And any kind of demonic entity would definitely not want to go into that. Demonic entities like to lurk in corners, so that's why we get the corners. You're putting up an energy field, basically, so that they don't want to get there. Perhaps you want to have a talisman on you, so that you can travel around and you don't have to worry about whatever ghost you might think is following you. Obsidian rock. This is actually volcanic rock, a form of obsidian, and I engraved the rune Uruz upon it. Learn some symbols that you connect with. I connect with the Elder Futhark, the runic alphabet, which is a system of primordial spirits that cross each other in order to create the fabric of reality. I engraved urus upon this volcanic rock, and I placed it in this little canvas bag, and I carry it around. And it allows me to have a little bit extra strength. It's a talisman. There are other ways to create talismans. I actually have some videos on my channel how to create talismans. You just type in Hunter Salazar talisman, you should be able to find some of them, but I carry this often as a talisman. And find some stones that you like. Find some symbols that you like. You might want to engrave it. Maybe write the symbol on a piece of paper. Put it in a little bag and carry it around with you. Allow yourself to be connected to your protection instead of allowing it to just be ephemeral. And if you want to go deep into your path, create a pattern. So this pattern is black clay that I have worked some dragon's blood incense into and some of my blood into. And it has runes that are my patron runes, which the symbols that I connect with to my Nordic path, my northern shamanistic path, the Elder Futhark. I've created this sigil and not engraved it, but basically scraped it into this clay before baking it, and this connects me to my path. And when I walk around every day, I can take this out of my pocket and hold it and remember my path, remember my protection, and remember how I have control of my life. And I hold it close in my hand whenever I need that extra affirmation. There are a number of other ways to create a defense against ghosts and deal with them. I know how to create my own holy water. It's not the holy water you might see in movies. You need a special saint item, and then you need a pope to bless it, something like that. I create my own holy water based on directing light energy into water. I have other videos on that. There's a couple other things you can do. If you place black salt onto a dish and you place it under your bed, any negativity can be drawn into that. If you get sea salt and you sprinkle it upon door frames, below each door and below each window around your room or house, it's very hard for any negativity to get in, but most of the time, ghosts aren't negative. That's what you have to understand. Dealing with ghosts isn't about dealing with negativity per se, but if you want to protect against negative things that they might do to you, all of these methods will work. But sometimes you just want to communicate with ghosts. Sometimes you want to reach out. I would suggest free writing or just talking to them. Now, if you feel any negativity or fear in doing that, just use the methods that I've talked about. And any negativity that they have will be stopped. But if they're completely positive ghosts, they might also be stopped, but less likely to be stopped. Because there's a lot of things that watch over us. There's a lot of ghosts that watch over us, a lot of spirits that we just don't know of, and that wouldn't necessarily be stopped by these things because they want us to be protected. They want us to understand ourselves. They want us to know that they exist. So you may not be protected from the positive ones, but these are all tactics to protect you from negative ghosts, and even some positive ones because they don't like to cross these barriers. Just know that ghosts aren't inherently evil or bad or trying to scare you or anything like that. How you protect yourself from ghosts and what ghosts actually are is something that you have to delve into. I've given you a baseline, but it's not cut and dry. And the vast majority of ghosts are not evil. If we can understand that, we can understand how we're going to pass on and how our family has passed on, how our friends pass on, and how maybe a little bit of them is left behind. If an ego doesn't want to let go of a loving family member or a friend, sometimes they'll stick around for a little bit, and that's okay. Don't be afraid when something supernatural happens all the time. Sometimes it's beneficial. If it feels beneficial, then it is. If you're scared just because it's something that is out of the ordinary, then try to re-understand how ghosts operate and what they are. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to message me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Hunter_Salazar. HUNTER_SALAZAR. You can message me, friend me. If you're polite, I will likely respond to you. I'm open to many different kinds of discussions. If you want to support my work, if you want to become a patron on Patreon, and you'll get all my videos, all my podcasts, all my works in one place, feel free to donate at least just $1 a month, and you can become a patron just at www.patreon.com/darkrealist, capital D, capital R. If you become a patron, I'm very likely to respond to you. I'm very likely to work with you, and it really helps me do what I do. At any rate, thank you very much for watching. Find yourselves. Don't be afraid. This has been How You Deal with Ghosts, and have a wonderful day.